Cool. So now that we know the basics of keyboard shortcuts and all that jazz, let's go forward to actually tracking a shot. So it's a pretty simple GoPro shot. We have a bit of motion. It's not a tripod, so you're going to see the camera is going to be moving slowly and slightly towards the left or right, up and downs. And it's pretty good motion. Nice and smooth, as you've seen in the graph before. So let's get to it. Let's track this shot. Let's not save it. And let's start. So what we're going to do is just open the scene up. It's either an image sequence or a movie. Usually it's going to be an image sequence. If not, that's fine too. And when you open it up, you're going to see this lovely panel. Some settings I like to use is Mitchell, Float, and 8-bit. It's going to be a little more faster for you to use it down the line. And this was shot in 29.97, so I'm going to keep that. Sometimes you will not get the information for this, like the backplate or the lens used or anything, so it's sometimes safe to use an Alexa setting. That's what most people use nowadays. It's an Alexa or a Dragon or a GoPro. But I know for a fact this is a GoPro Hero because I shot it myself. So let's find out some information on this. Let's get the backplate. So let's see. Handy dandy internet to the rescue. Let's look for the GoPro. GoPro. I'm going to click Hero. And this website is very good. It has all the information you need on cameras. We'll see that later. But for now, the backplate is going to be here. You can either have in millimeters or inches. It's up to you. It's an easier number for me right now, so I'm going to just copy paste it. But for the future, you can use this website for anything you want, like an Ari Alexa. Oops, I did not spell Ari correctly. So Ari Alexa, you have all of these guys. As you can see here, it's going to be 0.935 inches for the backplate, as seen here. Pretty safe bet that most places use this for all your feature film needs. So I'm going to paste that here for the GoPro, and I'm going to hit OK. It's going to be nice and fun. Let's track this shot with a high pass because right now it's not too friendly. It has a ton of noise, and it's not going to be worth our time to track this. Like, even if we do have something to track, it's not going to be too good to track it. So if we see here, it's not going to be too nice. I mean, I could like guide it around, but it's wasting too much of my time at that point. It's like I have to physically move it, and it's not worth our time. So what we could do is use a high pass, hit P for the image prep, and we're going to crunch these numbers as close as we can to the middle. So 0.5. The closest thing is probably going to be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 to be closer to this number. And the next closest, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 on the low. Gamma should be 1. Sound like a little hellish, but it's fine. We'll just change it to grayscale for now. Mitchell for interpolation. And let's go to blur 2. And let's make this number fancy. I usually start off with a noise reduce of 15 and a blur of 1 and a high pass of 0.32 or something like that. That's for most shots, like in the daytime. And you can see it's a little better. The noise is gone. And this looks easier to track, but if we want a little more out of this, we can do that. We crunch these numbers up a little higher. Make it a little easier to track. So let's raise this number a bit. And it's give and take. Most of this is give and take. Like if you notice, the higher this is, the easier it is for tracking. But if you put this a little too high, like 100, it's not going to be ideal. So if we see that at 100, the computer's going to die and it's just not going to respond too well. So if you do 15, it's going to be so blurry and inaccurate. So probably 3 or 4 for these kind of shots is good enough. I'm going to hit OK. And the computer is going to process this. It's going to take a bit of time, probably a minute or two. You could probably hear it. It's like a jet engine next to me, kind of like a mini render farm, if you will. And right now it's caching. So at this moment in time, I'd like to say thank you for watching, for everyone out there. It's been a pleasure so far in these last couple of minutes, and I hope you get to see the rest of it. It's pretty nice, useful information here for fast tracking. And yes, very interesting. This is probably the most slack part of the job. You're going to be waiting for caches. Sometimes you have 1000 frame shots or 2000 frame shots, like those very cinematic scenes in movies where you go around the character for like 2000 frames and it's settling on their face and you have to match move it, and it's so much fun. But getting a high pass on it, just getting the most ideal high pass is very key for this, because you don't want to wait like an hour or two every time you do this high pass. You're going to try to get in between everything, between the numbers, and get enough for this to solve right. So I would love to go around these tabs, but the cache is just too strong for this right now. So even if I do click this, it's going to probably not capture in video format. It's not too quick. My computer's dying. So in the meantime, we'll see what we can track visually and mentally. Let's try to see where we put the points. So probably around the door, you have lots of contrast there, the black and white. And you're going to try to get middle ground, foreground, and background as best as you can for the parallax to calculate. The more the merrier, but too many trackers is not a good thing. Remember that. Too few, not a good thing either. So try to get a nice number. And what I mean by too many trackers is a bad thing. I mean, time is money. So if you're making 1,000 trackers for this one shot, it's not the most ideal thing, because you probably have a lot of other shots to do. So we'll do enough for the camera solve, enough for the motion and for the geometry we're going to make later on to work. So alright, I'm going to give this another 10 seconds to buffer, because what I'm using to capture right now probably would not capture this. Yeah, the fan's blowing so hard right now. Poor machine. Cool, in the meantime, let's go to trackers panel and I'll show you guys what to do for tracking. So if I want this, I hit 5. I'm going to zoom in with the middle mouse. And this middle square, as you can see, you can move it around. And this is what Synthesize is going to try to read. And this outer one is what it will range to see it. So what it will see and how far it'll see it. So if you do it too close, it might not get it. It might fly away. So let's just test it out for fun. Too small and it's not enough of a feature for that. So let's go between there. If you hit spacebar and let it play through, it's tracking pretty well. Sticks pretty nicely. And if we're a fan of it, just hit the plus sign to lock it, or hit the little lock here. But I like keyboard shortcuts, makes things faster. And it's nice. So let's do some more trackers. You could do one at a time if you want to milk money, but what you can also do is do multiple points at the same time. So I go here, make some more points, have some fun at the same time. Here we go. Gonna probably get this guy. This guy's cool. This guy's cool. And this guy's kind of cool. Yeah, he's pretty cool. That's a fun one. That's a fun one. And if you guys do end up trying this, I'd advise to probably make your own points wherever you want them. Find out how things work out. I'm just manually going over here and putting these points out wherever I find it best to track. Whatever I feel won't be slipping around. So if I hit spacebar, it's going to track it's gonna try to calculate all these guys at the same time, so it's pretty nice. And instead of going one by one and hitting plus to lock them, you can hit Control A for all of them, hit plus, and plus again, and it'll lock all of them. So you don't do that nonsense. And it's pretty nice, but we need a few more trackers, I believe, for this foreground to work. So let's make some more. Nice contrast here. I'll probably get this guy if Synthas is nice to us. And this guy to join him. Why not? Let's add one more here. Probably one more here. And this guy's cool. This guy's also cool. And hit spacebar. Gonna try to calculate. Fun times. Oh, let me see this guy's... Wow. It's like a train outside or something. So this guy is not tracking too well. He's just flying all over the place. We're gonna hit delete to get rid of him. Hit Control A++, and that seems to be okay. Might get another one over here for fun. Let's do this guy maybe. Bless us with something nice and thighs. And then I'm gonna hit plus. After it's done. Liking it. It's pretty good. So let's calculate it. So we're gonna go to the solver panel to solve it, obviously. Slow but sure. It's gonna take like 0.001 seconds more to calculate. Transition frames to 12. It's a safe number. If you want smaller, hit 6 if you want. Automatic and 0.8. Not too bad. And if we hit F2, we're gonna go to this view for single. F3 for the perspective. Hit L to lock into place. As we can see, there is no distortion solved yet, so we're going to try to have these curves straight, or else if you put a square box here or a plane, it's not going to be curving with the plate. So try to hit calculate distortion. Let's see what it gives us. 0.6 error, pretty good. Let's see F3. See the distortion is kind of kicking in. It's not the greatest, so let's do some more. Cubic and quartic, a few more things for it to calculate. F3. See the distortion, it's trying to be straight over here. Just trying to get that line, but it's not solving it too good. So you know what, let's make geometry first. Let's see what it gives us. Because this point cloud is kind of spewing things around not so nicely, so making geometry might help, or we could track some more points. Could just select this guy, make a tracker. Let's make a few more trackers. Let's try to get one down here. Hit 5 to center on it. Smaller. Oops, flying away. It's not nice. So you can click here to make a key. You can keep on going if you want. And you can hit the numpads 2, 6, 4, and 8 to go around. So 6 to go right, 4 to go left, 8 to go up, 2 to go down. You can move these manually if you want. Or you can actually hit the right click to get rid of that key. Nope, can't spacebar the rest, so I'm gonna hit a key here for Synthesize to know what I want. Right click, it's flying away, it's not a good thing. And it's just a little practice. It's not the most ideal thing. So as you can see here, I'm fidgeting it around and it's not the greatest thing. It's slow. I could have had like 4 other trackers by now. But persistence is key if you have nothing else to track. And you do, that's not the greatest solution. So what I would advise is if a tracker is taking way too long, maybe try tracking other things, other features, way more quick, and it'll probably get a better solve at that point because you're not just toggling things around. So it's not too bad. I feel like you have enough there for Synthesize to calculate. Maybe one more guy here. Oops, it's not being friendly today. Nope, it's just not friendly. Cool. He's gone. He's gone for good. It's just not ideal. So this point looks pretty good. Anything synthesized? No? Okay, that's cool too. So let's try to see if those points did anything. 0.5, not too bad. Not bad at all. Point cloud looks pretty good. You can see that the ground's here. That's the room over there, and this is the room over here. Not bad. So if I make some geometry, you can make some planes if you want, or you can do a box, whatever you suit is best for the scenario. Make a rough little box. You can move it around here with this, or rotate it around. And if that's not helpful to you, you can always lock the selection to make it like a pivot, a mini pivot wherever you click. So if you want to rotate it from here, you can. If you want to scale it from here, you can. It's up to you. You can also hit the camera with hole to move it around. And if you don't want the whole mesh moving as well, you can hit 3D hole effects meshes off. So the camera moves independently. And I'm not seeing the walls inside, so I'm gonna click the box, back faces, and you can see inside it. Probably get the camera inside. And this color is not too nice. It's not the most ideal thing to watch, so let's click it, make him red. There we go. Hit hole, let's move this around just a bit. And of course the trackers are not exactly where they are in space, but we can fix that later, as you'll see. Let's make this mesh a little taller. There we go. You can move this with shift to go faster, or control to go a little slower. So I'm gonna hit shift, and it looks, it's not bad. I'm a fan of it. It's pretty good. Points are everywhere, but you can scale how the points are going from the camera. So if you use this, you can see the points getting closer. So that's a neat feature, but the point cloud is not the best in the world. You could probably rotate it a bit more, so let's do that. Let's rotate like this. Try to get the perspective lined up right. It's not too bad. And if this looks ugly, go to view, open GL. Nice and crisp. Look at that. Beautiful. Probably lower the camera just a bit. There we go. Probably scale him up just a bit. There you go. Beautiful. So now what we could do is force the points onto wherever the geometry is. And what I mean is you're going to project them from the camera onto the geometry. So if I select some points, I'm going to tell Synthesize to lock them wherever I'm pointing them out. So let's say I'm content with this, and I am. Get a track, drop onto mesh. Let's just clear these guys so we know later on who is who and who is constrained. So I could select this guy and hit select same color, and it'll select all of those guys. So now if I go refine the solve, because I like the motion and the points, and constrained so it stays there, and I solve it, it'll have the points on the geometry. If I hit play, you can see it in motion. It's not too bad. Distortion is kind of sloppy. I'm not a fan of this at all. Might add a few more points. Let's see if it helps us. This guy's just not solving. That's cool. Probably dropping onto mesh is a good idea. See, the rotation's a little off. We could fix that. Let's do that. There we go. Perspective is a little better. I'm a fan. Probably a little too much, so we can go back here, fix that just a bit. There we go. See how the lines are going. See how the distortion now is kind of capturing that. So, we're fans. Let's go drop him on again, because we did move around. Let's drop him and him. Drop onto mesh. And this time let's make the weight of these guys a little more, so they'll influence it just a tad more. Let's color them white. And then refine. A 9 error, but it'll get that solve more stuck on there. Hit F3, the solve is getting better. If you ever want to manually do this, you can do it. Go here to redo this. And if you're solid fans of whatever you're making here, you can unselect them. So Synthesize will no longer calculate that. And what you could do is drop on again. Refine. And you're going to keep that distortion you wanted to calculate. So lines are straight as opposed to here. This is not so straight, so what we could use is the last one for the outer edges, this one for the inner. Try to get that straight motion. It's about right. That's pretty good. So now if I drop again, you can see that it's pretty straight and straight on. So if I'm hitting spacebar to see this, you can notice that this wall is not accurate. So let's try to see where this point is in space and tweak the geometry to the liking of this. So you can make a box right here. There's a move it just a bit. We're gonna try to see this guy for this wall partition. It's not bad. I'm gonna try to glue it on here. So here we go, we're fine. It's gonna stick onto this wall I made. It's not bad. Not bad at all. You can create geometry this way, or do this in Maya, whichever one you like best. I find this method a little faster to do, because you already in Synthesize. Might as well use it. So there you go, this wall is there. It's not really on the floor. I'm not a fan. A little offensive. Let's see. Yeah, no. Let's fix that. Because this is kind of off, so probably this will help out just a bit. Cool. So if we go here and drop this guy into mesh, and then make these guys drop onto mesh, probably get a similar result. There we go. Much better. If we want to smooth this out, we can see in the graph what we have here. Who the biggest offender is. This guy's probably sliding all over the place. And he is. Yeesh. So what we can do at this point is either delete this guy and see if the solve will be better. You can see it shrinking already. Or we could do some more refining. So yeah, this guy made up is not accurate at all, so deleting that will help out immensely with the track. So sometimes putting a lot of points in and deleting them later is a good strategy. But for the initial solve, it's pretty good to have around. So let's see this guy. It's okay. So everything around that is going to be probably the same. Not too bad. So next thing we look at, since the solve is better, so go to cameras, path. You see it's all jaggedy and nasty, so anything in front of the camera, like very up close, like on the lens, is gonna look nasty. So to make this better, we can either delete them here, like this, or we can let Synthesize do some work for us. And what I mean by that is filtering this to make this smoother. So frequency at 5 billion, it's gonna lock to 50, it doesn't matter, you can hit 50 if you want. XYZ for all those channels and apply the filter. You can click this once, you can hit enter 1,000 times. You can do both at the same time. Whatever your preference is, it's fine. Reset. And to keep that, the lovely curve we have, we're gonna hit axis locks to lock this into place. And since this is translation and not rotation, we're gonna lock all these guys and make them 60. 60 is a fair value because 0 is more like keeping the curve no matter what. You're just hard locking it, so that's not ideal. You kind of want the curve to move a bit. You're trying to make it compensate just a bit to what the motion is, but not getting too out of hand. So if you do 60, it's gonna keep the curve a bit. And if you go lower, it's giving Synthesize a reason to change it just a bit. So how low can you go here? Let's see. Probably gonna be 30 until we see some changes. Yeah, 30, we see some changes. Not too drastic, but if you go any lower, like 15, you'll see what I mean. So yeah, you can see the curve changes the closer you go to 1. And the higher you go, the more you're retaining at like 0 anyway. So 50 or 60 is pretty good numbers to start by. It's your preference. You can play around with that if you want. And you can see it's smooth and it's wonderful. It's not dying all over the place. But if you feel like this is not the motion of the camera, let's say we don't see this actually happening. Like maybe it doesn't want to go left or right in your opinion. You can change this here. So you could delete some curves or try to flatten them out. And you're basically telling Synthesize that this is the path you want the camera to be at. So it can be a little artsy if you want. It's fine, it's up to you. End of the day, whatever looks best from the camera is the best achievement you have. So don't be too aggressive, like that's not gonna be accurate, but let's try for fun anyway. Let's see, maybe it doesn't go down that way. So let's see what Synthesize gives us. It's gonna probably panic. A few things we could do here. We can select both of these guys and hit smooth key. It's gonna make that nice arc, kind of like in Maya with the auto tangents. So smooth the keys, smooth the keys. If it's not giving it, well, we'll just try to force a bit. There we go. Smooth these guys out. Oops, here we go. And we're going to filter control 50 again. Reset filter. Axis lock. Hit get. Let's keep the curve. You see Synthesize is going to try to keep the curve. Error goes up because it's not really what it's trying to do. but it keeps the motion pretty good. Like if that's what you wanted, well, there you go, that's what you get. And Synthesize doesn't compensate this with X, Y, and Z, but it compensates it with pan, tilt, and roll, so you can see all that motion is going to probably be filtered through that, or the FOV if you decide to only use that to go up and down. So there we go, pretty nice shot, but we're not done yet because this scale is not too accurate. And what I mean by this is if you make an earthling over here by the door, you're going to see that scale, probably not the accurate thing in the world. Like he's not 1,900 centimeters tall, that's impossible, so let's use the internet. Let's see, how tall is a human? 5 feet something, 165 centimeters. Okay, so 6 feet. I'm gonna just average whatever it is. What, 5 feet 5 inches? Yeah, I'm gonna average it to 6 feet. Make it 182. And we're gonna try to do the inverse function with a calculator. Synthesize. Here we go. So how do we get from there to there? So basically it's 1 over whatever it is, and then multiply that to scale it up. So 182 divided by 1925.161. We're going to multiply this number here, so when we scale it all, it's going to shrink down to the proper size. Let's move this to origin a little closer and professional looking. Here we go, he's on the ground. So this guy's not going to be 182, 6 feet tall. So there you go, pretty nice and easy. Hope the concepts were not too bad on the sorts there. And if you want to apply it, you can. Just go here to lens workflow and apply the distortion. It's going to be a little caching, but it's going to result in this, which you could then export. And you can export that here in output. Just save the sequence as a JPEG wherever you want. And you're going to get this JPEG how you see it. So if you hit reset and then try to do that on distortion and output it, you're going to get this plate to later use on whatever you want. Or you can render your own plate in Nuke using this value for undistorting. And if you do use whatever Synthesize has, once you do the redistort, it's going to give you an ST map you could later use to undistort. So however you wish to proceed, that's up to you. Sometimes people just don't like distorting plates because that's a simple effect. Like maybe it's a little picture on a door you could have done in any other software like Mocha. But if you don't want that, well, just don't calculate distortion and just do a little solve there. But if you needed like a character running through like this little area, it's like a guy going like just runs over here and then goes to the right, or runs and screams and goes into the door, or runs from here to the screen like that. That's fine too. Whatever you guys want, that's your imagination. You now have complete control of the 3D world here in this plate. So yep, have fun with it. Hope you guys enjoyed it. Pretty short tutorial, but we're going to go over some more advanced techniques later. Thanks for watching. Enjoy.